I got my little 96 Civic in here again. When I rebuilt this engine, it had a cracked exhaust manifold, and I welded it without cutting the crack out, and it cracked right away, and I just kept driving it like that. If you drive one of these around and you hear an exhaust noise, actually a lot of times it sounds like a knock, like when you start it up, when you just start accelerating, it sounds like it makes a loud knock, and a lot of people are wondering what's that knocking noise on these little D16s. And a lot of times when you hear a knocking noise, it's an exhaust leak. It's not a knock at all. So it's just exhaust pressure. It's really loud too. And I finally found one. I went to a U-Pullet place to get other parts, and I saw another Civic there, and it had a manifold that looked pretty good. So I took it off. It was like 15 bucks. There's a couple small cracks in it. There's one right there. Then there's one right there. But these things always crack in the back like that. You'll always see them like that. This one's actually got the one that I have, it has a crack right here. It's all the way around on the rear exhaust runner. So it's really loud, and that's a really common place for them to crack too. But these cracks in the back, there's such a little bit that they won't leak. I didn't want to get a header for it. You can get them headers really cheap off of eBay. I don't know, they're like 50 bucks or 35 bucks, but I don't like them. The O2 sensor's in the wrong spot, and there's no heat shield on them either. So everything in the front of your car gets really hot. Your AC hoses and stuff, and all my stuff works. So I actually got a pipe dream to turbocharge this someday too, but that's not going to happen. I still got to make my first million, and then I'll turbocharge it and make a cool video on it or something. But for right now, I'm just going to put this manifold on. They're pretty easy to do. First thing I want to do is get this oxygen sensor unplugged. There's a little tab under here. You pull up on it, pull this out. Push this in, pop that out. There's 4 12mm bolts on this heat shield. This one's only got 3, the one way down on the bottom. It's all rusted through and gone. I didn't put it back on when I rebuilt this. Yeah, this engine's all rebuilt. It's a really nice runner. It don't leak, it don't smoke. I beat the heck out of it. It's really slow. I'm not nice to it at all. It's great. I'm going to try to sneak this out of here. It should come out somehow. There's my big ugly weld. I'm sure if I would have ground this out and welded it the right way, it would have worked. Yeah, all of these are 12mm. Now the rest of the bolts I'm going to get from underneath. There's a 14mm here. Then there's 3 14mm nuts on this manifold. If you get a factory type cast iron manifold, you don't need to replace this gasket. Just make sure no sand or grit falls in here. You can clean this off and clean this really good and just reuse this. If you get an aftermarket one, you'll get this type of junk. And if you get an eBay header, you have to use a gasket like this. But if you use a cast iron manifold, use this. And the reason why is because these are more susceptible of blowing out and leaking. And a flat machine surface on a cast iron intake, it's not going to leak on you. There's gaskets down here too. You can replace those if you want. I got some putty I'm going to put on these. I put these on new when I rebuilt the engine. But yeah, I'll reuse those too. This surface on here, it isn't really as good as I want it to be. I can see there's some high spots where it's starting to rust through a little bit. Of course, since I'm really fond of a chipping hammer, see, I just busted a big chunk out of here. If this stuff's loose, it'll pop right off. You don't need to hit it hard either. Now that I did that, I can just draw file this. What a draw file is you leave it like this and you draw it until it gets down to metal. That file's actually a little rough, so I got a finer one. It'll bite into this a little better. You just go in a circle on each one of these ports. You'll see it clean up real nice. There, that's all I need to do. That's going to work really good. And then this side here, I already kind of scraped it, so it's good. This oxygen sensor is. So I'm going to put my original one on it because I know that one works. I got this fancy snap-on socket. It's a piece of junk. Most of the time it strips these out. Snap-on junk. Oh, I got lucky. Put some anti-seize on this. I got this stuff. That's what I did. That's what I used for my exhaust here. I'm gonna just slather a little bit on these rings so I don't have to buy new ones. Yeah, apparently they call this a mini me. I don't see the big difference. It's a D16Y8 head in a D16Y7 block. I got the block because it was cheaper, and then I did a re-ring on the block and put my Y8 head on it. Apparently it gets more compression this way. I can't imagine there'd be that big of a difference. The piston crown is a little taller on this. The piston pin to crown measurement is a little taller on a Y7, so it gets a little more compression with this head on it. You probably get about a half a compression ratio out of it, which isn't much. On these, you want to start in the center and work your way out. If I was to guess, I would say these should be at about 24 foot-pounds. That's just a guess, though. If you want to use a torque wrench, you can look it up. I'm not going to. I just snug them down and then I kind of do a final torque. Double check them all. Yeah, as another guess, I would say these are probably about 42 foot-pounds. I'm just guessing. I'm going to do these by hand too. Then you tighten this one up last. There. I should have some nice quiet sounding girly exhaust. Okay, bye.